Hello, art students, and welcome to Art with Miss Rickard. I'm excited to get our art lessons going from home. Let's take a look at our very first lesson. We are going to be talking about still life and what is a still life. You might have heard this word before, but it's always good to review. Let's take a look at two drawings of still lifes. Here we have two pencil drawings, one still life on the left and one on the right, very similar here, made by two different people. What we see are objects sitting on a table. We've got a pitcher with some fruit stuck in it. So what is a still life? Quite simply, a still life is a work of art showing a group of still objects. So you're probably thinking, golly, what's in a still life? Well, these are some things that could be in a still life. You could have flowers. Lots of still life artwork has flowers in it. You could have fruit or food. Again, we see a lot of this showing up in still life paintings around the world. And of course, you can also have plates, pots, pans, bowls. Basically, anything that you can pick up and sit down on a table and it's not going to move away from you could be used in a still life. But not everything can go in a still life. There are some things that should not be used in a still life. For example, a house. Very difficult to pick up a house and sit it on your table. A house is just too big for a still life. People paint them and draw them, sure, but not part of a still life. Also, let's take a look at trees. Yeah, if you're outside drawing mountains or the beach or landforms or the trees in the sky and the clouds and the grass and all those wonderful things, you're drawing a landscape. Those things are not in a still life. We can't pick up a tree and stick it on a table. That's not really an option. Can't pick up a mountain and bring it inside and stick it on a table to draw it. So landforms and outside things, probably not used in a still life. Now, we all love animals, but animals are living things. They're not objects at all. So animals are not used in still life. And thinking in the same way, people are types of animals. People are not used in still life either. And I've showed you this picture of a cartoon person because still lifes are real. They're actual objects sitting together, arranged in a special way, and you look at them to draw them or paint them. But if you're using your imagination to make a cartoon or something, well, that's not really a still life either. Okay, let's take what we've learned and see if you can identify a still life. Here we go. Time for a mini quiz. Look at the next 4 paintings, and you decide which one is a still life. Look close. Only one of these will be. Here's picture number 1. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to take a look at this. Yeah, we see some grass and mountains and clouds. This was a painting done by Vincent van Gogh. I want you to think, is it a still life? Okay, that's picture number 1. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2. Okay, I'm seeing a picture of a person. Yeah, this painting was done by Rembrandt. Is this a still life? That's number 2. Okay, let's look at number 3. Okay, we have a table, plate, some fruit on top, that white sheet, some jars or bowls. This was made by Paul Cézanne. Is it a still life? All right, there's one more painting. Number 4. Here we go. Interesting. We've got some melted clocks, something that looks like a table, maybe an open field. I'm not sure if that's an animal or a person on the ground. Got to think on this one. So this painting by Salvador Dali is the last one we're going to look at. Next, I want you to decide which one of these paintings that you've seen was the still life. Was it 1, 2, 3, or 4? Go ahead, see if you can guess. Here we go. If you guessed number 3, you're correct. This was the painting of a still life. It's objects placed together on a table. None of those objects are moving. None of those objects are animals or people, and it's definitely not imaginary. This is a still life. So you might be thinking, well, why weren't these still lifes? Well, these 3 paintings have different reasons. The first one here shows grass and mountains and clouds. That's a landscape. It's an outside picture. The one at the bottom here shows something from the artist's imagination. We're not really sure what it is, but we know it's not real, so it can't be part of a still life. And the last picture here, well, that's quite obviously a person. This one is a self-portrait. Again, not a still life. Time for some practice. Okay, so at home, find 5 to 7 objects that you could use in a still life. Could be a fork, a bed pillow, could be a shoe, your book bag, maybe that homework that you haven't finished. Find 5 or 7 objects that you could use in a still life. Then put them together in an arranged group. Stick them together in a way that you think is interesting to look at. Then take a photograph of your still life and turn it in to complete the assignment. You could take a picture and send it to me on Facebook. You could take a picture and send it to me on YouTube, or you could even log in and send it in during your Canvas assignments. Any of those things are fine. I look forward to see what you make. Step number 4, if you want to, for some extra fun, try drawing or coloring or even painting your still life. Okay, let's take a look at an example that I've made. So I gathered some things around the house. I've got some paint, some books, yarn, more paint, some string, a can, and paintbrushes. That's about 7 objects. Now I've put them together in an interesting way. I didn't just line them up in a straight line. Not that we ever use straight lines in school. No, I'm just joking. What we have here is overlapping, and overlapping is an important part of making a still life. You can see here that the acrylic paint is blocking the back corner of those purple textbooks. I can't see that back corner because the paint is overlapping it. Got some other examples. Take a look. So here we have some more paint and it's blocking black yarn. And what we see here, we can't actually see the entire black yarn because the orange paint is overlapping it. We also have another example of overlapping here at the top of this can. I can't see the back side of the can because the paintbrushes are overlapping it, and I can't see the bottom of the paintbrushes because the can is overlapping it. Take a look at some overlapping happening near this black yarn. Where do you see overlapping here? If you're thinking you can't see the bottom of those cans or that green yarn string, you're absolutely right. We can't see the bottom because the black yarn is overlapping those objects. So let's take a look at some overlapping in a real painting. The first thing I'm going to point out is where there isn't overlapping. Yep, that green little apple has nothing touching it. It's sitting there all alone. This is okay because the rest of the picture does have types of overlapping. Look right beside it. We have 4 different pieces of fruit that are all interconnected and touching each other. We know that the one in front is red, and we know that the one in the back is higher up. We can't see the bottom of it at all. This is an example of overlapping. When you're making your own still life, try to include places where things are overlapping. It's okay if some things don't, but you definitely want to include some areas that have that overlapping quality. All right, time for me to show you this assignment one more time. All right, so grab a camera, get permission from your family first. So you take that camera and I want you to take a picture of the still life you make at home using objects from around your house. Then turn it in to Miss Rickard. That would be me. After you've turned in the picture, have some fun. Find some art materials you might have around the house and try your hand at drawing, painting, or creating your own still life. Note that the picture I've made of my still life is modeled after the one I made in real life. We're not using our imaginations here. We're actually trying to look and make what we see. Have fun with this, guys. Still lifes can be anywhere and can be made of almost anything. Take a look around your house, see what fun things you can find. And until next time, go make some art.